Get this. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Riley Shields, and today I'll be presenting capital punishment. When the United States was formed, it was based on the idea of justice and freedom for all. The idea that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness has helped make this country one of the greatest nations in the world. The idea that the punishment should fit the crime is one of the guiding principles our country has used in its court system. If you commit a crime, you should expect the punishment to be fitting of the offense. Of all the crimes that can be committed in this country, nothing is more severe than taking another's life. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, on average, 45 murders are committed a day in the United States. Those are 45 families that have to suffer the loss of a loved one. 34 states have taken action to try and prevent murders from occurring by punishing those who commit them. They have introduced the death penalty as a form of punishment. This map the United States. The states in red are the ones that do have the death penalty, and the ones in gray are the ones that do not have the death penalty. Hawaii and Alaska do not have the death penalty as well. By using the death penalty, these states have a punishment that can fit the worst of crimes. Wisconsin is one of the few states that do not have this form of punishment. In this speech, I will give you reasons why our state needs to adopt the death penalty so we have a punishment to fit the worst crimes that can be ever committed. Prisons in the United States are becoming overcrowded. Prisons are forced to give inmates parole because they have no room. Is it safe to turn those people back into society so quickly? What happens if that person goes out and commits more crimes, especially if that individual is in for murder? Do you want that murderer wandering the streets where your kids play and your family lives? I don't. The way to fix the prison problem is to make the punishment worse, so that criminals will think twice before they commit the crime. If the punishment is more severe, criminals will avoid the action, which means less people punished, which in turn means less people put in our penal system. By instituting the death penalty, it might not deter first-time offenders as much as the murderer who has just served his first strike in prison, knowing that the next one might land him on the chair. The murder rate in 1990 was 9.4. In 2010, it has dropped dramatically down to less than 5.0. The murder rate is calculated every 100,000 people. I believe this statistical change is a direct result of the use of the death penalty. As you can see in these two charts that I found on the FBI website, that since the death penalty peaked in 1999, there has been a steady decrease in the murder rate in the United States. With that thought in mind, we can keep people out of our prisons by upping the ante, so to speak, with the punishment. Surely most of you know of the television shows like CSI and NCIS. These shows are fictional, but some of the advantages in technology that helps them solve crimes aren't. With the advances in technology, we can be 99.99% sure that we are putting the right people behind bars. One of the biggest arguments against the death penalty is, what happens if you kill the wrong person? With these advances, the possibility is so small that it is irrelevant. As much faith as I have in our law enforcement forensics, I believe DNA evidence has to be required in order to sentence them for such a strong penalty. If the death penalty is instituted, you can be sure that criminals that are sentenced are deserving of the punishment. If a person is sentenced, they are put on death row. This gives investigators more time to find more evidence, either to help close the case further or open it back up for more investigation. According to the FBI records, since 1973, 138 people have been released from death row with evidence of their innocence. According to CNN.com, that is about 140 out of 9,722 offenders that have been sentenced to death between 1970 and 2010 have been found innocent. This is less than 1.5% of people sentenced that are found innocent. So being set on death row is not a permanent sentence, but rather giving these individuals more time to find more evidence of their innocence. We give the offenders plenty of time to protect themselves from a sentence, but the truth will always shine through, and forensics is just another way of getting to the truth. The last point I would like to make is that you know justice will be better served. There aren't just any individuals that are put on death row. These are murderers. These individuals have taken away the most precious gift we as human beings have, life. Can you imagine if your father, your mother, your brother, or your sister, or any member of your family was killed by the hands of another human being that walks amongst us? I couldn't. It would hurt me too deep. Nothing in this world can fill the void that is left when life is taken away from someone. But the small bit of closure we can give those families is worth it. I'm not saying that the death penalty is our first option when dealing with offenders. The first option should be the imprisonment of that person. Imprisonment should show the individual the short portion of time that he couldn't spend with his or her family is a small reminder that the victim's family will not get any more time with their loved one. If incarcerated isn't enough, the death penalty would be a fitting punishment for their crimes. If Wisconsin adopts the death penalty, there is one more way that these murderers can be punished, and justice better served for individuals that have been hurt by their crimes. In conclusion, capital punishment should be accepted in Wisconsin. It would give Wisconsin's judicial system another option for punishment for individuals that commit the most evil of crimes. The penal system needs to make the punishment fit the crime. If not for punishment, at least use it as a scare tactic. If by instituting capital punishment protects one person's life, don't you think it's worth it? I think it is. Any questions? Thank you.